Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishop, and elders, a great millstone that rule well, and peace and blessings be multiplied on all you brethren out there, teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to the few Akwaf that do listen and subscribe. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the 144,000, and the rest of the elect out there, shalom. I'm the brother Dama Agabar, here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh Yahweh Shai. All right, and as you can see, hey, these devils are gearing up, they're ramping up for, to pretty much to wage war on you American people. And as you can see here, ICE buys warehouse network to support ramped up deportation operations. And one thing you have to understand is that this whole, deportation, the Biden administration allowing all these different migrants and allowing the borders of America to be flooded with all of these different so-called migrants and foreigners and coming in unvetted, unchecked, was all part of a greater operation of these elites, And now, they're using the Trump administration to push this, agenda that, they ramped up ICE. They give them this huge budget. They militarized them. They've given them all this sophisticated, technology to be able to track and trace and find all of these migrants. They're cleaning up America. They're, getting rid of all these violent criminals and gangsters and, third world filth, out of America to make America great again is all, it's all part of the game they're playing on you American people, man. And ultimately, we know that this whole deportation shit is really just a slick way of these elites militarizing, ICE and the Border Patrol and, being able to eventually to wage war on all of you American citizens, especially, people that they deem to be unnecessary, people that they deem to be nuisances and problems, whistleblowers, truth speakers, people that are not, buying the bullshit, people that are skeptical, people that are criticizing, people that are that have a voice that goes against, the mainstream narrative, are going to eventually deem to be enemies and terrorists, just like right now, they're deeming all of these protesters that are going against this ICE situation as terrorists. They're literally unaliving and murdering Americans. And, since they're protesting, they killed them. And now they're labeling them terrorists and putting all type of, negative titles on particular individuals. And you have to be blind as a bat not to see the game that they're running and how eventually, ICE will be used to come up against you American people pretty soon. They've already given Trump the right to not need warrants to go into people's houses. So pretty much, and also they've given ICE immunity basically to do whatever the hell they want to do. And if you can't see that the stage is being set eventually for them to be able to, violate everybody's constitutional rights and be able to deem whoever they want, as enemies or terrorists or people of interest to be grabbed up, rounded up, and eventually thrown into one of these detention centers, or one of these, FEMA centers, man. You see, it's a deeper play at hand than that's on the surface. And, a lot of people better wake up and see what the hell is really going on, man. These devils are getting, well, let me get it. And this is what we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, through what prophecy is saying, and ultimately by knowing, how this devil is operating, and ultimately what's the agenda of these elites and what they ultimately are trying to accomplish. And this is Revelations chapter 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. You see, they know that their time to, bring in this new world order is short. And ultimately, they see a lot of people are waking up. They see a lot of people are not as blind and as, ignorant as they once were. People are starting to realize that, that a lot of these so-called seaspiracies aren't conspiracies at all, that there's a lot of truth into it. People are seeing how the government is moving, how, You know, like I said, they just gave ICE total immunity to be a Gestapo, to go door to door. They don't need warrants. They can just stop whoever they want to stop, harass whoever they want to harass, profile whoever they want to profile, and they can literally grab you up and take you to one of these detention centers. Even if you say that you're an American citizen, even if you say I'm not a migrant, it's really been given, and it's up to their discretion whether they want to believe that or not. You see, and it's going to eventually turn into all out chaos and war on you American people, man. You see, so these ICE facilities, these warehouses, which I remember the elders and the apostles a long time ago, been warning and prophesying that eventually that that there were all type of detention centers and FEMA camps all across America, man. Now they're allowing ICE to come out and literally tell you that they're converting these warehouses into detention centers, which is nothing more than concentration camps. And I can guarantee you that the once these things are up and running and they start to really put these people in them, that the conditions in those places are going to be absolutely atrocious, man. And I've done lessons on the information that was coming out about how the conditions of Alligator Alcatraz and how bad it was, man. You can imagine the amount of unspeakable horrors that was taking place in those facilities, man. And how much more all these other facilities that they're getting ready to create, man. Can you imagine when they're just grabbing up women, men, and children and just throwing them into these facilities, very, very low living conditions, probably no heat, no running water, no, adequate plumbing systems, the amount of sicknesses, diseases, death, rapes, murders, abuse is going to take place in these different facilities when it's all said and done, man. You see, so you people better wake the hell up. And like I said, it's a lot deeper than them just trying to use these warehouses to grab up so-called migrants and use it as deportation centers. Like I said, a lot of these are going to be used for you undesirable American citizens. Citizens, remember, whether you people know it or not, they got AI and artificial intelligence watching and tracking everything that you people do, from your tweets to your opinions to what you're posting online. All these different things are all being information is being gathered, and a database is being created so that eventually, when they're ready to truly roll, a lot of you people that they deem as persons of interest are going to eventually be rounded up or questioned. Even us, the men of the Lord, we're on that database. And there's going to come a time in a time where, hey, we're going to be confronted for this truth. We're going to be eventually, so-called dealt with or categorized or labeled as a person of interest or a person that needs to be, eliminated, man. Okay. So, Salaki for that long introduction, but let's read some of this article. It says the Trump administration is moving ahead with plans to convert 23 e-commerce warehouses across the country, primarily in the eastern U.S., into a large-scale network of immigration detention centers aimed at expanding capacity to fulfill the mandate the American people gave President Trump to deport more than 1 million illegal aliens per year and restore national security, you see? And remember, it goes a lot deeper than this, because I remember Trump was even saying that, when he has it his way, he's not against deporting even American citizens that are violent, repeat criminals. A lot of these American citizens who are not pro-America, who's, like I said, has a career criminal history background. He's not against rounding them up and deporting them as well. How much more the prophets and the men of the Lord? You see? How much more you everyday average Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who happen to be so-called American citizens, man. You see, if you ever had any opinion or said anything against the powers that be, against the government, against Trump, against this administration, or against any of the policies that this the powers that be are about, you could instantly become a person of interest, man. And this is the type of mind frame you have to have, because this is the spirit this man is coming down with. Like I said, he's coming down with great wrath, knowing he has but a short time. And a part of this new world order, they don't need any. A part of that is, they don't need any kickback. They don't need anybody talking shit. They don't need anybody who's out there willing to expose their their corruption, their bullshit, or calling out any of the calling bullshit on anything that these devils are doing. You see? So it goes a lot deeper than, you know what I mean, what you see on the surface, you know? This shit was all planned, it was all orchestrated, it didn't just happen by chance. It says this comes after the Biden-Harris globalist regime collapsed borders and allowed a nation-killing invasion of 10 million or more third worlders. And remember, that was done intentionally. They did that shit on purpose because what? They were going to use that to be able to bring in, digital identification, to bring in, everybody have to be identified digitally, for you to be able to give up your biometrics, for them to be able to say that there's so many illegals, there's so many possible terrorist threats. We don't really know who came across the border, what their intentions are. You got a lot of evil people that hate America, that hate our freedoms, that smuggled across the country to do all type of crime. So it would make sense for us to be able to, have to be able to digitally ID everybody, because former forms of identification like ID cards, birth certificates, different physical copies of things can be forged and can be faked. But if everybody has to digitally be identified, hey, well, we can eliminate that and we can make things safe, and we can get rid of the criminal element and blah 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 blah. But it's all because they want everybody to be digitally tagged and tracked, man. See, and this is what this whole Biden Harris allowing these so-called migrants to cross the border, because it was part of a bigger scheme. You see, it was part of a bigger agenda, man. But anyways, it says Bloomberg reports that Immigration and Custom Enforcement rapid move to build out a network of warehouses is being fueled by $45 billion from the signature One Big Beautiful Bill Act. This includes that most recent purchases of warehouses in Hagerton, Maryland, and another in Surprise, Arizona, totaling $172 million. A third in El Paso, Texas, will be one of the largest of its kind with 8,500 beds. You see? Now, if you think that, these different locations are just going to be for so-called immigrants, then you're a damn fool, man. A lot of these, when the Insurrection Act is finally enacted and martial law is taking place, what do you think they're going to do when people start rioting and looting? When this economy collapse, when people eventually figure out what's really happening and take it to the streets and protest. When you start seeing total chaos and anarchy take place on the streets, and they got martial law enacted, what the hell you think they're going to be able to? What do you think they're going to, when they have to start locking up people? And, dealing with these protesters, you think they're going to just throw all these people that's going to be protesting eventually in the future in your everyday average prison? It's not going to be enough space. They know that they're going to need more and more places to house the so-called insurrectionists. They're going to need more facilities and places like these warehouses to lock up the American people, the undesirables, the people that need to be locked up, the people that are deemed, a nuisance to their agenda. You see, this is ultimately what they're bringing and popping up all of these facilities for, because they know it's going to eventually get to this level. You see, and like I said, they're getting ready to come up against anybody that they deem to be a person of interest. It's not going to be just about immigrants. That was just the way that they did it to deceive you people. All right. And this is Isaiah chapter 29 and 20. It says, "For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught." And where do the prophets and the men of the Lord, where do we fall into this being made an offender? Is for us reproving in the gate, for us being out there on the highways and the byways, for us out there ushering in the return of Hamashiach Yahushua, us out there, revealing to the world who the wicked and the man of the son of perdition is, Esau, Edom. You see, they're going to eventually, in a roundabout way, make it to where they're going to be able to come after the prophets and the men of the Lord. They're going to be able to categorize us, and, they might even use AI and deep fakes or something along the lines in the future to be justified in making us an offender and coming up against us and throwing us in prison, So we have to be, like I said, we see it through the spirit, the play that's being made. And we know ultimately that these detention centers that they're popping up all over the country are going to be used for situations like I'm explaining. You see, it says the ICE detention system is only growing larger and larger, with ever greater numbers of illegals who invaded the nation being deported. It's not even they're not even deporting many people like that as much as they claim that they are. Like I said, eventually, it's this whole ICE situation is going to be expanded to not only to deport so-called migrants, but also to deal with the nuisance of you American citizens. A lot of you First Amendment and Second Amendment, your First Amendment and your Second Amendment believers, man. Remember, now they're saying that you can't bring firearms to a protest, which is totally not unconstitutional, but now they're making it unconstitutional, you know? And like I said, all you people that are out there going to these protests, they got ICE has that technology and these different, programs to where they know, even if they don't confront you, even if you don't do anything, they know that you're out there. They're tracking your whereabouts. They know from the moment you got to that protest exactly where you went after that protest, and they're keeping tabs and tracks on you. They know where all you people live that are out there protesting and marching for these different ICE, anti-ICE marches, man. And guess what? You're being deemed as an undesirable. You're being pinged as a person of interest. And eventually, hey, you're gonna hear that knock at your door. You people that are out there leaving these tweets and talking shit against Trump, they're tracking and keeping tabs on all of you. They're showing you that over there in London. A lot of people are getting thrown in jail because of posts and tweets that they posted online. Shit, you even have some certain people out here in America who posted particular things about this administration that got a knock at the door. They became what? A person of interest. So how much more when all hell breaks loose and the Insurrection Act is enacted and these devils start to bring in, starts to come down upon everybody that's on the red, blue, or yellow list, man. You see, it says the current level of illegals held in detention is at a record of 73,000. To reach 1 million deportations per year, ICE must have 100,000 detention beds. See, so they're only expanding this shit because, like I said, eventually, they're preparing for a greater situation. It says to reach these kind of numbers, they need to go out into the communities and find people who've been living their lives and been here a long time, Winger said. And guess what? Eventually is gonna, like I said, the same situation, the same tactic, how they got to go out to communities. Eventually the same thing is going to happen when they go beyond just getting rid of illegals, but insurrectionists or people of interest. They're going to be doing the same shit, and they've already gave ICE the green light to do warrantless searches, to go door to door. You see, so you people better wake up and see what time it is, man. Hey, this man is getting ready to come down with this great wrath. You see, it says they had to dramatically increase their presence in communities across the country. You see, it says we do not want an ICE facility here in the state of Maryland. It don't matter what you want because these devils are going to do whatever they want to do. You see? And in a lot of these warehouses, especially a lot of these other warehouses that are being built, a lot of them are owned by BlackRock and Blackstone. And we know who those devils are, man. Especially here in California, there's a warehouse on every goddamn corner here. Big, giant facilities. And what do you think those are going to be used for eventually when all hell breaks loose, man? You see, all these things, all these warehouses and in particular buildings and structures, when all hell breaks loose, can be converted into one of these detention centers, man. And we're going to see that in the future. It's prophecy, man. You see? What else is in here? It says ICE expects to hold between 1,500 and 10,000 detainees in each of these 23 warehouses at a time. The question that should be asked is why Democrats jeopardize national security by allowing the illegal alien invasions, because they were told to do this shit. It was all part of the agenda and the plan, like I said. It says the answer is political with the goal of creating a new voting bloc. And that's all bullshit because eventually there's not going to be any more voting blocks. Not going to be any more citizens voting for a president. That whole system is going to be done away with when they bring in this NWO, when they bring in this technocracy. You're not going to have presidents and people that you vote for and have the people decide who they want to be this and to be that. It's going to already be decided who's going to be this and who's going to be that. It's going to be a goddamn technocracy. It's going to be a totalitarian system, man. Where the upper echelon control every single aspect of your life. You see, like I said, it was a deeper agenda behind it to bring in, digital IDs and to bring in this beast system. It says with the goal of blah, 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 it says, and entrenching long-term one-party dominance under Democratic Party kings and queens. But it ain't that. It's because these devils want to bring in this technocracy, man. So, like I said, hey, we see the play being made, and we understand what time it is, man. All right. And this is Revelations chapter 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. You see, and that's the same devil that is spoke of in Revelation 12 and 12. It's not talking about the actual spiritual demon Satan. It's talking about his physical carnal power, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right. In this system, it says, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison that you may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. You see, because it's going to get to the point in a lot of these detention centers, they're going to present before you the MOTB. Some of us, they're not even going to give that option. They're just going to, chop our heads off. They're going to try to get some of us to denounce Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They're going to try to offer you hey, well, just take the microchip and, you'll be all right. Hey, all past sins and debts and crimes and your label of being a terrorist or insurrectionist, it'll all be we'll drop all charges. Just take the charagma and become a citizen of our NWO. And hey, some of the men of the Lord are going to be put in a situation where we're going to be tried, man. And some of us are going to have to be faithful to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai even unto death. We're going to have to get our heads chopped off in a guillotine, or they might put us before a firing squad, or who knows what. But we know it's all going to be a trial and a test of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But we can see how the stage is being set for this man to come down, man. So let's get this, man. They're going to be like madmen, as it says here in Ezra's. What's that? It's 15, ain't it? 16. Yep, 2nd Ezra 16 and 21. 2nd Ezra 16 and 71. It says 2nd Ezra 16 and 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. You see, and they're going to eventually try to present this MOTB to some of us who are going to be grabbed up and brought before governors and the powers that be. You see, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. Right. Because if you eventually give in and you accept this man's mark, you think it's going to give you some type of freedom, but really it's going to just put you in a more oppressive and a more hellish condition, man. Like I said, you're going to be put in a 15-minute city. You're going to eat the bugs. You're going to be even more oppressed, man. You're not going to have a freedom of thought or freedom of any goddamn thing. You're just going to be totally oppressed and ruled over and governed under this technocracy, which is going to be a complete and living hell, man. You see? And on top of that, you're going to be destroyed, by Yahweh Shai in the presence of the holy angels. And you're going to get that nasty, grievous, cancerous sore from taking that goddamn filthy charagma, man. So it's definitely a lose-lose situation, But like I said, he's going to present it as, oh, you're safe now. You're good. You can go back to, we'll let you out of the detention center. You can go, report to your nearest whatever. You're going to find out that you was better off just going back into the spirit world instead of getting yourself involved in this technocracy. It says, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. You see? It says, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Remember, they just gave ICE the ability to be able to do warrantless searches. They can go into communities and towns and cities and knock on doors and kick doors down, and they have the immunity to do so. And even if they have to lay you down and just blow you away like we've seen, hey, they'll be totally not found guilty. They'll be awarded, they'll get a bonus, and they'll be found not guilty because you were impeding their job or whatever excuse they make to justify them murdering American citizens, man. It says, then they shall be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire, like I was just reading in Revelations 2 and 10. You see, we're going to be tried, those of us that are grabbed up in these detention centers, but we know ultimately the road that we should take. It says, hear, O my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. You see? So we shouldn't fear, because we know ultimately, what's the end of all of this? It says, be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord power. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift themselves up. You see? So the elect, we're going to be good, man. But it's our job to warn you and let you know that these things are happening. And this is Psalms 140:1, a psalm of David. Deliver me, O Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man. You see? And I just read in 2nd Ezra that, hey, this prayer for the elect is going to be answered in that day. You see? It says, which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Continually are they gathered together for war. You see? And that's what this whole ICE and border agent shit is all about. This devil's waging war on you American people. And what's going to really justify it is when they implement that Insurrection Act, man. Then they're going to really be able to roll with super impunity, man. And they're going to eventually wage full war, not only on those so-called migrants, but on you American people and anybody that's standing in the way of their agenda, man. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips. Selah. Keep me, O Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have purpose to overthrow my goings. You see? It says, the proud have hid a snare for me and cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me. Selah. I said unto Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, thou art my power. Hear the voice of my supplication, O Lord. O Yahweh, our power, the strength of my salvation. Thou hast covered my head in the day of battle. Grant not, O Yahweh, the desire of the wicked. Further not his wicked device, lest they exalt themselves. Salah. You see? And these devils are going to be eventually destroyed, and the Lord's going to eventually come to the aid of the elect. And these devils are only going to proceed for so far, man. But it's still our job and our duty to just give you warning and let you know, what these devils are up to and how they're moving and that they're getting ready to come with that great wrath, man. But hey, for the elect and the sincere brethren out there, hey, we have nothing to worry about. Lord willing, we're part of the elect. Lord willing, we're covered. We're going to make it through. The Lord's going to be with us and deliver us and eventually, break this devil down, man. So with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. All praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. Until the next one, shalom.